Alright, now we're going to be asked to solve the equation m squared equals 4m minus 4. Now, in order to do this, we cannot use the technique of solving using a square root because we have both a squared term and a linear term. So what I need to do is use another technique, and here I'm going to use the quadratic formula. So just as I told you earlier, first thing to do would be to just copy a version of this down so that you can work it or have room to work with it. And if we're going to use the quadratic formula, we need to have our entire quadratic set equal to 0, and we can see that that is not the case here. So I need to move everything to one side so that I can have 0 on the other side. And since my squared term is over here, I'm just going to move everything over to where my squared term is. So I have this plus 4m. So in order to move that over, I have to subtract 4m from both sides. So this gives me m squared minus 4m equals, now these two will cancel each other out, equals negative 4. Now I'm going to add 4 to both sides, and that gives me m squared minus 4m plus 4 equals 0. Now I'm in business because this thing is equal to 0. Let's go ahead and identify a, b, and c. A in this case will be 1. B would be negative 4. And c would be positive 4. And now I'm ready to take the quadratic formula and plug everything in. So I want you to always begin by writing down the quadratic formula in all its glory. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, remember that's called the discriminant, divided by 2a. And remember that 2a, that's underneath everything. So once I have all of this done, I'm going to plug in all of these values. So I just substitute 1 for a, negative 4 for b, and so on and so forth. And I'm going to do that nice and big right underneath here. So I have negative b, so I replace the b with parentheses, and inside that we had negative 4 plus or minus the square root of negative 4 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is 4. And all of that is going to be divided by 2a, so that's 2 times 1. Now I can go through and I can simplify some of this, so I'll do that underneath here. Negative negative 4, so that's the opposite of negative 4, is going to be positive 4. And then plus or minus the square root of negative 4 squared is 16. Minus 4 times 1 times 4 is going to be 16. And then 2 times 1 is 2. Now hopefully some of you can start to see where this will go, and I'm just going to continue to simplify underneath it. We have 4 plus or minus the square root of 16 minus 16, which is 0, divided by 2. So the square root of 0, that's a pretty easy thing to take into account. The square root of 0 is 0. 4 plus or minus 0, well, it doesn't matter if we're adding or subtracting 0. We're still going to end up with 4. So what we end up with is x is equal to 4 divided by 2, which is a very fancy way of saying 2. So that's my solution, is that x equals 2. If you want to, you can cut out the middleman there and just say x equals 2. That's your solution. One thing I didn't add that I probably should have, and when we go back through, I want you to make sure you do this, is we can actually go ahead and say that x equals business out in front of all of these, and I probably should have on this, because all of this is going to be where I get my solution from. And so you can see this is just where I've simplified this through and through to find my one solution. If we look at the discriminant on this was 0, so that confirms that I should indeed just get one solution. So with that, we are done.